Hello, I'm glad you're here. I'm NatsMan, and I'm reading the Bible from the beginning to the end, from Genesis to Revelations. Please join me in this journey and make God's Word a part of your everyday life. Please hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified every time I post so you won't miss any parts of this Bible read. This video is a recap summary of the book of Esther, and it will start right now. The book of Esther is a unique and powerful story in the Old Testament. It's set during the time when the Jewish people were scattered across the Persian Empire. After the Babylonian exile, what makes Esther so unique is that the name of God is never directly mentioned, yet his hand of providence is seen all throughout the story. The account begins with King Xerxes, also known as Ahasuerus, who ruled over a vast empire stretching from India to Ethiopia. At the start of the book, Xerxes holds a lavish banquet to display his wealth and glory. During this feast, he calls for Queen Vashti to appear before the guests, but she refuses. This act of defiance leads the king, with the advice of his officials, to depose her as queen. With Vashti gone, a search begins for a new queen. Beautiful young women from across the empire are brought to the palace, including a young Jewish woman named Esther. Esther is raised by her cousin and guardian, Mordecai. She is wise, graceful, attractive, and soon wins the favor of the officials. After a long preparation, she is chosen by the king to become the new queen of Persia. Importantly, Mordecai instructs her not to reveal that she is Jewish. Meanwhile, Mordecai uncovers a plot to assassinate the king, and he reports it through Esther, and the conspirators are stopped. His deed is recorded in the royal chronicles, but he receives no immediate reward, something that will become very important later in the story. The main antagonist soon appears, Haman, a powerful noble who rises to second in command under Xerxes. Haman is proud and expects everyone to bow before him, but Mordecai refuses because of his loyalty to God. This enrages Haman, and instead of punishing Mordecai alone, he plots to destroy all Jews in the empire. He convinces the king to issue a decree authorizing their annihilation, setting the date by casting lots, or Purim. When the decree spreads, the Jewish people are thrown into mourning. Mordecai urges Esther to intervene. At first, she hesitates, knowing that to approach the king without being summoned would mean death. But Mordecai challenges her with those famous words, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" With courage, Esther agrees, saying, "If I perish, I perish." Esther risks her life by approaching the king, but he welcomes her. Instead of immediately presenting her request, she invites the king and Haman to a banquet. At the first banquet, she invites them to a second one, heightening the suspense. That same night, the king cannot sleep and has the royal records read to him, and he discovers that Mordecai once saved his life, but was never honored. At that very moment, Haman arrives, planning to ask permission to execute Mordecai on a gallows he had built. But before he can speak, the king asks Haman what should be done for the man the king delights to honor. Thinking the king is talking about him, Haman suggests a lavish parade with royal robes and the king's horse. But to his horror, the king orders Haman to do all this for Mordecai. At the second banquet, Esther finally reveals her request. She pleads for her life and the life of her people, exposing Haman's plot. The king is furious and storms out. And when he returns, he finds Haman falling onto Esther's couch, begging for mercy. The king interprets it as an assault and orders Haman to be executed, ironically on the very gallows that Haman had built for Mordecai. After Haman's death, Esther and Mordecai are given authority to write a new decree in the king's name, and though the new decree cannot be revoked, though the original decree cannot be revoked, this new one allows the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. When the appointed day arrives, the Jews are victorious. Mordecai is elevated to second in command, and the Jewish people rejoice. To remember this deliverance, the festival of Purim is established. The name comes from the lots Haman cast to decide the day of destruction, but instead it became a day of salvation and joy. Purim remains a celebration of God's hidden hand of providence, turning tragedy into triumph. The book closes with Mordecai's rise to prominence and the peace of the Jewish people under Persian rule. At its core, Esther is a story of God's providence and protection, even when his name is not spoken. It teaches us that courage in the face of danger, faithfulness in times of crisis, and the truth that God can work through ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary purposes. Esther reminds us that no matter how hidden God may seem, he is always at work guiding history according to his will. And that is the recap summary of the book of Esther. I hope you enjoy this project. I hope you enjoy this endeavor to read the entire Bible. If you do, please feel free to comment, and also please give this a thumbs up and subscribe. If this is your first visit to NatsMan Reads the Bible, I leave a link in the description to the intro video that explains what I'm trying to accomplish here. I hope you come back for the next video, and until then, thank you. I hope you have a blessed day. I'm NatsMan, and I'm out.